Verdict count 1. Court file number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th
Yes!
April 2021
Yes!
at 1:45 p.m.
Yes! 3 for 3!
019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please
Fucking
respond
rot in
yes or
prison,
no.
you guilty
Juror
piece of
number 2,
shit. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. It's going to be a wild one. Obviously, I'm going to turn right now live to the Derek Chauvin verdict and then follow along both with the aftermath, the ensuing, I'm sure what will either be joyous taking to the streets versus protests and or riots that take place as well, depending on how things go. Gonna cover the whole thing. I'll be here. Now, I'm going to leave this running in the background because I'm guessing it will make a sound when the actual results are in, unless someone else says something that isn't just a picture of the seal. It's kind of funny. They're like, this is probably what the entirety of the world is watching right now. Like, everyone, not since maybe the OJ trial has there been a more anticipated verdict, except this time, hopefully a lot of white people are on the right side of history. But anyways, this is, you know, going to be monumental, and yet this is what they decide to show. They're like, why don't we just film the seal? All right, just wait. I was like, I don't know. I was just opening up Foxes because I wanted to see if there was a chat, but they're smart. They turned the chat off. There is no like or dislike going on there. Okay, good move, Fox. Oh shit, the seal moved. I saw the seal move. We have an update, everybody. The seal has moved, or perhaps that was the camera. I think that maybe in the camera may have gotten bumped there, but that's something. You know, that's something. We have a thing. Let's do a deep dive into the history of the seal. Sure. Lucille. The Great Seal of the state of Minnesota is the state seal of the U.S. state of Minnesota. My God, it's happening. In real time, everybody. We've learned things no one knew. Why can't you say Minnesota? It's my god darn Canadian accent, you know. It's funny though, sometimes Canadians, they can sound like Minnesotans. They're pretty close. They kind of sound similar, you know? I don't know. No dude about it. Yeah. The stump symbolizes the subjugation of the land and the importance of the lumber industry to Minnesota. Damn, you guys love lumber that much. The Mississippi Ripper, the St. Anthony Falls are depicted in the revised seal to note the importance of these resources in transportation industry and settling of the lake. The cultivated group also indicates the subjugation of the land, while the plow symbolizes the importance of agriculture in Minnesota and its future. All right. Well, there you go, everybody. We've learned things. Say bag or flag, please. Bag, flag. Wait, is that not how I'm supposed to say it? Am I saying it incorrectly? Do what in my accent? No, that would be brutal. I think Canadian accents are cringe, to be honest with you. Both in the way they sound naturally and oh, you actually have an up-down scale. Anyways, I'm gonna leave this on in the background. As soon as the verdict is almost announced, I will jump into it. And in the meantime, we should learn everything we can about where this is going to go. If you were asking me my genuine predictions about what we are about to experience, I'm going to say this. It is, I am cynical, I am jaded, and I am thoroughly disgusted with the history of how police are given immunity towards their murders in the United States, and specifically towards people, Black Americans, Indigenous Americans, same thing in Canada. I mean, you know, the RCMP slaughters indigenous Canadians way more than it does, you know, white Canadians. So there's no question about that, and it's long history. I will say this though, deliberation within 24 hours bodes well. That is normally a very good sign. That means there was not a lot of arguments. There's not a lot of back and forth. It seems that everyone was able to agree on this rather rapidly. I'm just talking about the historical precedents when it comes to that. So that does bode well. What else bodes well is it really seems like in the midst of all the anger, in the midst of all the protests that are going on in the United States right now, that they are willing to throw Derek Chauvin under the bus in this case. He is just such a complete and utter piece of shit. Through and through, someone who had already killed multiple other people, multiple other Black Americans. The video footage speaks for itself. Even people on the right have to do a lot of mental gymnastics to defend this one. But don't get me wrong, they absolutely have. On top of that, even the chief of police was like, you know what, we're throwing this motherfucker under the bus. So that all bodes well. So my prediction, my personal prediction, if you want to ask me, I think he will be found guilty. Perhaps not of all the charges, but we'll see. Could be one of those holy shit moments where the hammer just comes on down. We'll see. And should it not be, I unfortunately would not be surprised. I'll be broken. I'll say that. But this could be a turning point. Could be a moment. It's going to be historical no matter what happens in either direction. And yeah, let's experience it together, everybody.
All rise for the jury.
The jury in the murder trial of Derek Chauvin began its deliberations on Monday after closing arguments
Pizza
from the
Cata, thank
prosecution
you.
and defense, and 3 weeks of testimony in a case that has gripped the nation.
Ultimately, it really isn't that complicated.
Prosecutor Jerry Blackwell wrapped up closing arguments with an appeal to the jury's common sense,
No, I haven't
telling
seen this
them
one.
to trust what they saw in the video of George Floyd's death under the knee of the former Minneapolis police officer.
You can believe your eyes, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, and M-pals, we live. How amazing would it be if someone farts in the room? Oh wait, was that a false start? Oh, shame on whoever just turned on the mic for 2 seconds to ruffle some papers and was like, oh shit, the mic's on, and then shut it off. Shame on you. Man, this is such an important moment that everyone is just like on the edge of their seat, like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And then, oh yeah. All right, well, false alarm, everybody. Whew. Man, just playing with the emotions. I gotta watch the Waters comments. I still haven't seen them, but I have that queued up. I have this. Alan Dershowitz compares Maxine Waters to the Ku Klux Klan, and like, isn't that the exact same behavior that got other people like kicked off Twitter? And what some will see as a naked call for attention, Harvard legal professor Alan Dershowitz asserted that Representative Maxine Waters' actions encourages protesters were similar to intimidation efforts of the Ku Klux Klan towards juries in the 1950s and 60s. Yes, he really said that. The curious moment came during the Tuesday morning appearance on Newsmax. Dershowitz was commenting, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but what did Maxine Waters say? Waters was heard telling an assembled media, "We have to fight for justice. I'm very hopeful, and I hope that we are going to get a verdict that will say guilty, guilty, guilty. I don't know whether it's first degree, but as far as I'm concerned, it's first degree." She also encouraged protesters by saying, "We've got to stay on the streets, and we've got to be more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We have to make sure that they know that we mean business." What the fuck? This is it? That's what's causing all the furor? I've seen everyone online losing their minds about this. What the fuck? Really? Yeah, no shit. What does everyone think direct action is? Like, yeah, it's protesting on the streets that gets, like, significant social change. There's nothing in here that's like, we have to burn this country to the ground. I will not be, like, satisfied until I feast upon the blood of every single person who opposes me. How, and this is akin to the Ku Klux Klan? What the fuck are they talking about? Holy shit.
Seen as a reckoning in the way the U.S. polices black people, but the prosecution urged the jury to weigh the guilt of the man, not the system.
He betrayed the badge. He chose pride over policing.
Of course, because nothing else is going to fly in America. You can't be like, the whole system's corrupt. You know, we need to abolish the police state as we know it. Kerflaw! Like, that would definitely scare the jury. Probably wouldn't get the results you're looking for, you know? Like, pretty sure jury would come back and it's like, I guess we got to acquit him because the other side seems a little too far-fetched. By the way, every other live feed so far is just showing the seal, but I believe Global News, which happens to be Canadian, probably don't have access to the inside, so instead of filming the seal, they're filming the people outside. Which actually would be more exciting, because, you know, should he be found guilty on all counts, this is going to erupt in cheers. As I think will most of the world. Everyone else is just watching the seal. Loose seal. How much blowback will we see? I was pretty, it seemed pretty apparent that people like Ben Shapiro, for example, were on board with the fact that this is not acceptable at a, like, neck-crushing level. Like, they're like, well, you know, he's not wrong in trying to detain a guy, and he's not wrong in using excessive force, and he's definitely not wrong about pinning him down, but maybe he just went too far at X. That seemed to be what the right-wing spin machine was on this, but it seems to have evolved, as has this, right? Like, this is taking on, it's become such a cultural force now. This is a focal point on which both sides of the argument are both pinning a lot of their hopes that this could be transformative, that this might be finally that turning point in history where cops don't keep getting away with it, you know, where we can't do that Jesse Pinkman meme anymore. You can't keep getting away with it, you know, shit like that. That is like the moment we're all waiting for.
Well, in this case, the video was key, but let's not be fooling ourselves. There has been video in other cases, and the police officer has been found not guilty. In the case of Walter Scott, a few years ago, Mr.
Agreed, Wilco.
Scott was
Like,
running away from
that's
the
the
police
thing.
in South Carolina.
This is so unfair for the simple reason that there's one side of the aisle, like all of us, that are like, yes, like this just could be this historic moment where just this once, a fucking cop is found guilty for the same thing that everyday citizens are for their fucking murderous crime, you know, like that's one side of the aisle. But let's be real, this should be the bare fucking minimum. Like, right now, we're all hinging on this and we're all hoping so much that it's going to go the right way, but this should just be the minimum, you know? Like, this isn't defunding the police. This is not abolishing the police. This is not abolishing the police state. This is not reforming the prison industrial complex. None of that. None of that comes here. This is just, like, the bare minimum of justice. That's it. That's all this is, you know? That's why it's like, it's so unfair that, like, the two things that are stacked up against each other. And then at the same time, the right-wingers are like, oh, come on, he should be charged. What is every cop going to be charged and be guilty of murder? Like, what kind of precedent does it set? Blah, blah, blah.
Much for sharing your expertise.
And we're just like, we just want justice. This is the minimum, the bare fucking minimum. God damn.
The point is the jury was sequestered, and we have to rely on the fact that the jury will, in fact, follow the instructions.
Fucking Tim Pool was pushing this shit that apparently, like, all the recent, like, protests and, like, you know, the incidences of riots are basically going to, like, sway the jury in this case. And now the jury's, like, deadly afraid because of it. I was like, God damn, Tim Pool always finds a way. You know how, like, life finds a way? Like, Tim Pool finds a fucking way. So, new article in the Times just about how rare it is that officers actually get charged in these cases. Here's some case in point. I'm sure all the names will be familiar. Eric Garner, Staten Island, 2014. Mr. Garner was standing outside of a store when officers who believed he was selling cigarettes illegally confronted him. Officer Daniel Pantaleo wrapped his arm around Mr. Garner's neck, forcing him to the ground as Mr. Garner told officers, "I can't breathe." Officer Pantaleo testified before a grand jury that he intended to use a maneuver he learned at the police academy, but that he had tried to unhook himself when he heard Mr. Garner's pleas. A grand jury ruled that there was not enough evidence to indict Officer Pantaleo. Federal investigators also declined to bring charges. Michael Brown, 18, was shot and killed in a Ferguson police officer, Darren Wilson. Mr. Wilson originally testified that he had been responding to a report of stealing in progress at a convenience store when he encountered Mr. Brown and another person walking along the street and tried to block their path with his car. A scuffle ensued, followed by a foot chase that ended with Mr. Wilson shot and unarmed Mr. Brown several times. A grand jury declined to indict Mr. Wilson. A separate U.S. Department of Justice investigation did not result in charges. More than 5 years later, St. Louis County prosecutor reopened the case, but ultimately decided not to prosecute Mr. Wilson. Tamir Rice, Cleveland, 2014. Tamir, 12, was playing with a toy gun in a park when he was shot and killed by Officer Timothy Lohman, a 9/11 caller, reportedly seen a person with a gun but said it was probably fake, and that person was probably a juvenile. Surveillance video showed that Mr. Lohman had opened fire on Tamir within 2 seconds of arriving on the scene. Local prosecutors never pressed charges against Mr. Lohman. This one is probably the most, like, egregious. Like, this is the one where you're just like, yeah, how did this happen? How did this happen? How did he get away with it? He killed a fucking 12-year-old. Local prosecutors never pressed charges against Mr. Lohman or his partner, Frank Garnbrack. A federal investigation that languished under 2 administrations also ended without charges. Stephen Clark, Sacramento, 2018. Mr. Clark and his grandmother in the backyard. Stephen Clark. Mr. Clark was in his grandmother's backyard when officers Terrence Mercadal and Jared Robinette responded to a vandalism complaint, fatally shot him because they believed he was holding a gun. The police did not find any weapon but found a cell phone under his body. The officers believed that he was pointing the gun at them, according to the district attorney, who declined to charge them. State and federal prosecutors also declined to bring charges. Breonna Taylor. Mrs. Taylor was killed in her apartment during a botched raid by police officers who later said they had announced their presence, which most witnesses said they did not hear. When the door was broken down after midnight, her boyfriend shot at what he thought were intruders, striking one officer in the leg. In response, that officers and the others fired 32 shots towards the couple. Neither of the 2 officers who struck Miss Taylor were indicted by a grand jury, which did indict a 3rd officer on 3 counts of wanton endangerment for firing recklessly into her neighbor's apartment. There was an FBI investigation into her death. Oh, there is an FBI investigation into her death. So in this case, the wall got more justice than Breonna Taylor. Charges where police officers with a crime and a fatal encounter does not guarantee that they will face a trial jury. Prosecutors may drop charges if they believe their case is weak or if they reach an agreement with the defendant to avoid trial. In fact, Mr. Chauvin initially agreed to go to prison for at least 10 years in a plea deal, but the deal was scuttled by the Justice Department. Miss Bland was found hanged in her jail cell 3 days after a Texas state trooper, Brian T. Anicia, arrested her during a traffic stop. In an affidavit justifying the arrest, Mr. Anicia said that he'd removed Miss Bland from the car so he could safely investigate it. A grand jury ruled that claim false and indicted him on a perjury charge. Prosecutors dropped the charge after Mr. Anicia agreed to end his career in law enforcement. Stop being a cop, and you don't have to face any results for your crimes. Freddie Gray. Oh, yeah. Mr. Gray died after sustaining a severe spinal cord injury in a police transport van. He had been handcuffed but not secured with a seatbelt. The state attorney charged the 6 officers involved. In 4 trials, defense lawyers raised doubts about the narrative laid out by the prosecution and argued there wasn't enough evidence to show that the officers had acted inappropriately. After failing to secure convictions at trials for the first 4 officers, the state's attorney later dropped the charges against the others. Federal prosecutors also declined to charge them. Video evidence. Videos captured by dashboard cameras, body-worn cameras, and some bystanders with cell phones have significantly changed the way police officers are prosecuted. In the Chauvin trial, the widely viewed bystander video is the central piece of evidence for the prosecution, whose experts analyzed it frame by frame. During a traffic stop over a broken taillight, Mr. Scott left his vehicle, this is Walter Scott, by the way, and began running away. Officer Michael T. Slager shot and killed him, initially claiming that the 2 had scuffed over a taser. But a bystander video showed Mr. Slager shooting an unarmed Mr. Scott in the back from 17 feet away and then planting his own taser next to Mr. Scott's body. Mr. Slager was tried on the murder charge in state court, but the jury was unable to decide whether or not he should be acquitted, convicted, or murder, or found guilty of voluntary manslaughter, and a mistrial was declared. Mr. Slager's defense team worked out a plea deal to settle all state and federal charges against him, but the plea agreement left it up to the judge to decide whether Mr. Slager was guilty of second-degree murder or voluntary manslaughter. The judge ultimately found Mr. Slager guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced him to 20 years in prison. I'm sensing a pattern. Oscar Grant III. Mr. Grant was shot and killed by officers Johannes Merschel of Oakland, or Mercel. Dozens of bystanders watched and recorded as transit officers who'd been called to break up a fight roughly detained several passengers. During the confusion, Mr. Mercel fatally shot Mr. Grant in the back while he was being restrained by another officer. Mr. Mercel would later say he meant to use his taser, not his gun, but when he shot Mr. Grant, a claim disputed by the prosecutors. Bystanders' videos led to citywide protests and provincial critical angles not captured by the surveillance videos or police cameras. He was found not guilty of involuntary manslaughter, sentenced to 11 months in prison in 2010. Last year, district attorney said they would reopen the case, focusing on a different officer, Anthony Perrone. On a 2019 report showed that he had punched Mr. Grant in the face and then used a racial slur. Holy shit. Many investigations of police killings hinge on whether the person has been killed or had been armed, or whether the officer had reason to believe he was armed. A judgment that officers say they only have a split second to make, and that's not a factor in the Chauvin trial. Mr. Floyd was unarmed, and there would never be any contention that he had a weapon. By the way, one thing we should be advocating for across the board when people are like, well, Lance, come on, how do we reform this? How do we change this? How do we defund the police? How do we abolish the police even? Are you talking about like reappropriating money into other programs? Here's just one quick thing. End the fucking drug war. End the war on drugs. Just it's done. You know, across the board, it's been a complete failure. It disproportionately affects Indigenous and Black Americans. Same thing with Indigenous Canadians and Black Canadians. It is 100% destructive. It has failed in every metric that you can measure something in terms of a war. It has made drugs more prolific. It has made them more dangerous. It has made them cheaper. It has made them more accessible. It has made and enriched criminals and criminal enterprises. It is single-handedly responsible for mass incarceration. End the war on drugs. That's it. Like, let's do an abolition of the war on drugs. It would free up so much money, so much money. Like, fucking think of abolishing the DEA. Like, yeah, we don't need that anymore. Yeah, we don't need to spend millions and millions of dollars on the DEA. That's gone now. It doesn't have any reason to exist anymore. Gone. Boom. Like, holy shit. There's probably Nazi bronies. There's usually Nazi everything. All right, let's be real. It's 2021. There's a lot of strange. Oh shit.
All rise for the jury. All right, please be seated. Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict. Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, Count 1. Court File Number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th
Yes!
April 2021
Yes!
at 1:45 p.m.
Yes! 3 for 3!
019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please
Fucking
respond
rot in
yes or
prison,
no.
you guilty
Juror
piece of
number 2, are these
shit.
your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your
Fuck,
true
look
and
at his
correct verdicts?
face.
Yes.
Oh, the
Juror
Schadenfreude.
number 85,
The
are these your
fucking
true and correct
Schadenfreude, you
verdicts?
piece of shit. You murdering
Juror
piece of
number
shit.
89,
You
are these
guilty
your true and correct
murderer.
verdicts?
You guilty fucking murderer.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts, so say you one, so say you all?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota
fuck
for not only
yes.
jury service, but
Oh, we needed a win.
What I'm
God
gonna ask you to do now
damn.
is to follow the deputy back into your usual room, and I will join you in a few minutes to answer questions. and to advise you further.
All counts.
All rise for the jury.
All counts. And what? You are gonna go down in history as an absolute fucking clown. Wow, did you ever take this to horrible new heights? Fuck, you should be disbarred.
We're going to have Blakely, you may file a written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week. The court will issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings.
Yes.
1 week after
Yes.
that. We'll order a PSI immediately, returnable in 4 weeks. And
like I said, that's the bare fucking minimum. That's the bare minimum. We've achieved the minimum, everybody. The bare fucking minimum. Holy shit, the minimum never felt so good.
We'll get you the exact dates.
Oh, the bare minimum never felt so good. Fuck
Is there a
yes.
motion on behalf of the state.
All counts.
Move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff. Anything further?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes. Fuck yes. On.
We're adjourned.
Man. Cop arresting cop. Fuck. Take him to the slammer, boys. Take him to the slammer. God damn. All 3 counts. Stop resisting. Do not pass go. Go directly to jail. Yes. Oh, fuck. Holy shit, that's glorious. That's glorious. All 3 counts. Let's see the people on the street. Oh, what a fucking 420. What a 420, everybody. All right. Yes, we are going to go through all the Schadenfreude. We are going to look up what is Ben Shapiro saying, what is Tim Pool saying, what is Steven Crowder, all of them, trust me. But for 2 seconds, come on, let's just soak in and bathe in the pure, unadulterated joy of this moment, the beauty of what is occurring.
Well, scenes of joy there outside the court in Minneapolis. Supporters of George Floyd erupted with joy. Many there literally crying, tears.
Yeah, we'll crowd rave, we'll crowd rave. I want to hear the tears of joy.
On all 3
I want to hear this for 2 seconds.
Relating to the death of George Floyd. 2nd-degree murder, 3rd-degree murder, and 2nd-degree manslaughter. So many had gathered there, well, they had been there before, and then obviously as news reached us about an hour and a half ago that the jury had reached their verdict, and they did so incredibly quickly. They were only sequestered about 24 hours ago, so that the jury had reached the verdict. More and more people gathered outside the courthouse in Minneapolis. Well, let's go to Ronald Sullivan, professor of law and director of the Criminal Justice Institute at the Harvard Law School, joining us from Newton in Massachusetts. You have followed this trial with us. We were speaking just before the verdicts were announced. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm sensing that there is an incredible amount of relief in Minnesota that justice was served. And there's such a history, and we talked about it before during the last segment, such a history of black and brown people not receiving just results in the criminal justice system. So this is an example that the justice system can work.
All 3 counts. Guilty motherfucker. Oh, yeah. Record scratch. Can we just take a second to now realize, because I was just scared to talk about this, how fucking ridiculous that defense was? Holy shit. Was that ever some of the worst things I've ever seen put forward by, like, how does that man call him a lawyer? I could put together a better case than that. What the fuck was that? Where it's like, okay, so first off, we're gonna make some new propositions here. We're gonna say that it's partially the witness's fault because they were distracting the police officers. So it's that. So that's it. Also, you know, he was on drugs, and it could have been the drugs that killed him. Oh, what's that? Many scientists are saying that's not it, including the coroner. Okay, well, you know, we'll run with it anyway. Hey, why don't we bring in an expert? He used to work in, you know, apartheid law back in South Africa, who is also currently being sued for potentially framing and poisoning a witness case like this. Okay, we'll bring him on. That'll be the expert witness in this case. God damn. God damn, that was such, and that's why it scared me, because I was like, if they can get away with this garbage defense, if that, like, if this in any way doesn't go, like, for a complete conviction, holy shit. But now I can look back on it and be like, yeah, that was fucking ridiculous. That was so bad. Yeah, he can have my clown shoes. That defense was clown shoes.
First obvious question
from the ground on up.
What's your reaction to the verdict?
Well, this is momentous, not just because of the way the jury, all the process the jury went through and the rest, which is wonderful, but it is momentous because we have had so many years of disappointment and despair. And
all right, we're going to do the Schadenfreude soon. I want to see all the right wing,
and we can trace it all the way back, as people do, to policing during the days of slavery, you know.
Love it.
And so now we've got something positive that shows that sometimes the justice system can work for you, and that's really important. And the major hope is that it might deter some police officers somewhere who might be thinking about, you know, whatever they're doing and end up killing somebody, that it doesn't happen. And we might
let's see action, Johnson.
Some kind of police reform, because police themselves are embarrassed at the sort of graphic circumstances, the seeing of what happened, and because also we are grateful for the technology that makes it possible for us to see over and over.
I love the power move of liking someone you hate's tweet, like, ironically.
Again, the knee on the neck and all the things that were shown in the video. So I think it's a great day. It's a great day for all of us who have been in despair. And let us hope that
Hassan Ratio Ben Shapiro. No, I haven't seen anything yet, all right? I've just been trying to drink this in. Come on, I'm still like, you know, I think I'm getting a contact high from all y'all, just from how good this news is. All right, let's see. Let's do our Schadenfreude, everybody. Let's see what the internet has to offer us. Ratio Ben Shapiro. Oh, even maybe he responded to Ben Shapiro's tweet. What is Ben Shapiro saying? I'm guessing he's not too happy. And now we know he never would have said this had the reverse verdict been reached. Justice has been served. Yeah, that's fucking how this shit works. No kidding. Almost like there's a difference between murdering going free and not. Oh, yeah. I got nothing clever. Hassan already blasted him. All right, Steven Crowder. What has Crowder got to say? Of course, there's going to be a pivot. Expect more police to quit in the coming weeks. Who else? Who else would be tweeting ridiculous? Oh, let's see what Tim Pool has to say. Chauvin bail revoked. Chauvin remanded. It's done. Let this be less than 12 police. You will get charged. You will be imprisoned. Broken clock? Oh, well, for Nick Fuentes and Liberty Hangout, you're venturing into the realm of I have to, well, I don't need to tour, but I need to go private. They have blocked me. Wait, you're not Nick Fuentes. Oof, no wonder you had to lock your account. I'm sure a lot of groypers are like, Daddy, are we lowering the age of consent? I wonder if Nick Fuentes is going to be like, if there's one thing the Derek Chauvin trials taught me, is we need to lower the age of consent. It's just like any excuse to talk about lowering the age of consent. Still a check mark, by the way. What's going on there, Jack? He never had a chance. There it is. There it is. Yeah, there it is. Oh, what do you think every single black person had been dealing with in the justice system their entire lives? Another all-white jury, you say? Well, rigged system, guilty. Going live with the Darren Chauvin verdict right now. Oh shit, are you actually live? Oh, he was not happy. That was a quick stream. That was a quick stream. Yeah. Well, Yeah, going back to talking about lowering the age of consent, I guess. The copium is real. Oh, the gripers. God damn. Liberty Hangout. Let's see what they have to say. Justice is dead, and so is this country. An innocent man just convicted of murder for a crime he never committed. So I wonder how far she takes this. Like, is Caitlin Bennett suggesting that the video is fake? That he never, or that it's just totally justified in what he did? That one? Okay. Justice is dead. The fucking worst possible gremlin got put in jail for something he did. There's literally video of George Floyd overdosing and the cops accommodating the criminal's every single request. Fucking Christ. Holy shit. So bad. So bad. Oh, the Schadenfreude. Just, it's coming in lightning speed, you know? I feel like after all the horribleness of like the past little while, this is recharging me. I'm getting like, I'm Shang Tsunging right now over all of these ghouls, every single one of them, you know, like your soul is mine. Just like, oh, I feel better. I'm sustained. Thank you. More copium, please. I am transferring their copium into hopium. There's an actual transfer going on here. It's fantastic. They'll find Chauvin guilty so their houses don't get burned down. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely. That's what happened here. Man, I mean, each one of these takes is worse than the one that preceded it. It's hard for me to pick. I don't know what to do here. Every single one of them. Who's next? Who else? Michael Knowles, I'm sure. He'll have a nuanced take on this one. An Anglo-Saxon is going to jail. Jurors to read the final wills before giving verdict. Wow, Babylon B. Huh. Holy shit. Breaking up, I've concluded that Friends isn't funny. The jury reached a decision hours after the President of the United States publicly assured them to convict. Biden says he's praying for the right verdict in the Chauvin trial. Good. The evidence is overwhelming. This is like... This is why I said this was the bare minimum. This one is just so cut and dry. Like, it's very clear. There are no shades of gray when it comes to this one. It's very, very obvious. Oh, Lauren Chen going back. No. Lauren Chen has been masked off for a long time, all right? Lauren Chen is come on. I hope metropolitan cops are paying attention. People in these cities don't want you. The state won't protect you. Why risk your lives just to be condemned? Especially in the light of COVID, why try to enforce recruiting lockdown measures hopefully you won't support? Why are leftists mad at this? I'm agreeing with you. I don't want cops in your cities. I want you to get exactly what you're asking for. Oh, Lauren! Lauren is right. Turn in your badges. Oh, sustains me. Okay, who else? I guess Sargon of Akkad we can't do. I mean, maybe Robin Hood has tweeted something? No. Oh, what about Short Fat Otaku? What do you got to say? I wish I was at liberty to discuss the hidden details of this interaction, but if you're willing to take me at face value, behind the scenes, the person in this interaction who is seething and coping is not Sean. What? So just gonna ignore it, I guess. Okay. Oh, Michael Tracy. Oh yeah, Michael Tracy's blocked me. If you want to get a free block from Michael Tracy, just publish the video of him getting demolished by the police. Now rushing outside to dance in the streets and celebrate the carceral power of the state. The carceral power of the state? How does someone get every take so wrong? So very wrong. Okay, how about people who are like supposed to be on the center? What about Sam Harris, for example? Bold move for a struggling organization. Oh, so he's still talking about Richard Dawkins, I guess. Doesn't care about the Chauvin trial. Alright, well, perfectly centered, as all things should be. Peter Coffin? I assume Peter Coffin has the right take on this. There's no reason they wouldn't. Since Derek Chauvin was found guilty, that means the entire justice system is fixed. How a certain segment of people can act. It's just always like, anything anyone is happy about, or any joy anyone ever takes in life, whether it's AOC playing Among Us or something else, or you know, Elliot Page feeling brave enough to come out as a man, it's just like, you know, by the way, just gonna damper your expectations here. Don't take solace in anything, not until the mode is over. The quartering, ooh, good call. What's our old friend Jeremy up to? Changing my prediction, guilty on all counts thanks to Maxine Waters' easy appeal and the eventual manslaughter conviction maybe a year. Hedging with the smaller battle manslaughter owner, called it. Hedging my bets, called it across the board. It's really sad commentary on America that most Twitter accepts there will be riots regardless of the verdict. 10 minutes, smoke him if you got him. I genuinely don't know how someone in Minneapolis could have served on the jury unaffected by the media stalking and threats of violence. I mean, I guess it's just like, his is a little watered down, right? Like the quarterings is basically like, yeah, this happened. this happened, but just so you know, it's also because people are scared, the jury's afraid. I don't think they're actually making a decision based on anything other than fear. Oh, Mike Cernovich. I guess I can guess what Mike's. I believe in self-governance. Democrats have spoken. They do not want police to enforce the law. Fine with me. That's how it goes and how it should be. Nationwide police strikes are called for. Blue flu. Is this like going to be the next thing for conservatives? They're like, you know what? We're just going to give the left what they want. Yeah, sure. Police abolition, prison abolition. We'll see where your society ends. And when it's in fucking ruins and you want the pieces picked back up, don't turn to us. I will whisper no.
It doesn't bring George Floyd back. And it doesn't. What does this change? It changes a lot, but the military is here. All
Yep.
this is happening. Look at what's happening. Look at where we're living right now. Look at what we're experiencing in life right now.
Yep.
I'm not okay. I'm not happy at all. Everybody's happy about this verdict, but I can't say that I'm happy. If that makes sense. I want to be happy, I do. But like I was just telling people, this is not even the end of this war. It's not even the end of this war that we're fighting. So, because now that the verdict is here, we can finally get to business.
True. It's like I said, it's the bare minimum. It's like, it's basically the ground floor. Wise words from Malcolm X, yeah.
You feel, however, that we're making progress in this country and worldwide?
No. I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. If you pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made. They won't even admit the knife is there.
Do you think Derek Chauvin got a fair trial? Yes. Breaking, Derek Chauvin has been found guilty on all 3 charges leveled against him. Second-degree murder, third-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter. Biden's prayers were answered. Maxine Waters got her way. Will it be enough to keep American burning? So that's you know, everyone was asking me, what do you think the spin on all this is going to be? That's it. That the jury was scared, intimidated. That they basically did, you know, it's funny. All the things they're freaking out about right now are kind of the things that people have been like historically dealing with on the other side of the aisle, especially marginalized communities. Like when Nick Fuentes tweeted like, he never stood a chance, and it's like a half non-white jury. I was like, God damn, black people were dealing with all white juries for a very long time. And you know, in times when they were for crimes I didn't even commit. Oh, what's Prison Paul saying? De facto death sentence for Chauvin. Wow. God damn. Emmett Till's family with Floyd's. What a powerful image. Emmett Till's cousin and George Floyd's brother, 75 years after Emmett was beaten, lynched, tortured, and thrown into a river. We still have so much work to be done. People don't realize their lifelong trauma and pain. It's true. It's true. There's no question that, like I said, this was, at the very least, the bare minimum. Hey, do you like movies? Do you like Serfs? Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs Cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, you know, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our gods, I'm Raft and Xander Corvus. We shall build golden idols in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker. Our soft, spongy flesh is yours to command. To our lords, Evan Nudie, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Ryan Lubin, Bisexual Black Gamer, Tofox, and Jeffrey Lamb, we proudly carry your sigils onto the battlefield. And to our Knights of the Round Table, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Timothy Hart, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophagic, Saren 42, Chronic to Hemphog, Kelly Kotka, The Great Pudini, Von Jani, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Encosin, J. Fraser Cartwright, Jimmy Bignuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Nicholas Marks, Jopi, Josh Mickelson, Melissa Murphy, Todd Buckingham, Todd LaJeunesse, and Constance Joyce Lacheris. We tip our cap and lift our mug and salute you.